start.
Welcome to Viewpoint. Once again, we have an interesting guest to talk with you today, and we're going to visit with him. His name is Chuck Kiel. My name is Diane Doddridge. Mr. Kiel is running for Tuolumne County Supervisor for District 1. And we thought you might enjoy hearing what he has to say, what he's for and what he's against, what his principles are, and a little bit about his background. So bear with us. Here we go. Hello, Mr. Kiel. May I call you Chuck?
Of course, Diane.
Thank you. I think we should start out this little conversation with some idea about what you bring to this pursuit of this office, what your background is. You've got a few gray hairs there, so I know you're not super young.
I have a lot of gray hair.
So do I. I know you're not super young, and you have had some experiences that you bring with you as you pursue this position. So you want to tell us about that?
Sure. Yeah, I was born in Southern California, and I went to Alaska when I got out of high school, almost immediately, and just wanted to take an adventure. So I ended up staying for 23 years.
My goodness.
Yeah. And I was
Whereabouts in Alaska?
Juneau, Alaska.
Juneau.
Southeast Alaska. And I worked on the Alaska Marine Highway System for 20 years. I was a public employee. I was a chief steward.
Really?
Yeah. Had a lot of cooking experience and just taking care of people.
This was on ships?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you said highway.
It is the Alaska Highway in Southeast Alaska because there's no roads. It's all
I see.
inland passages.
That's true. Very well.
So I did that for 20 years, and we had 4 kids, and we actually adopted a couple kids.
Did you marry someone in Alaska?
I did, and she's from California as well, from San Jose, but I was born in Burbank, California, and then we moved out to a place called Saugus, Santa Clarita.
Right.
So I left there and stayed in Alaska for 23 years, and we decided to leave Southeast Alaska just because the kids were at a point where they were young enough that we could leave and they weren't too involved in school yet. So we left and moved to Tuolumne County.
And how did you choose Tuolumne County?
Well, Jamie, my wife Jamie, her and her family used to vacation up here. That was where they vacationed.
That was your connection.
That's right. And she knew about this area. And so we ended up in Tuolumne for 12 years. And then we moved to Sonora.
Now, what about your education along the way?
I picked up my teaching credential up in Alaska. And so I was licensed to teach K through 8. And
The University of Alaska?
University of Alaska Southeast in Juneau. And so I had a job when I moved down here. I interviewed and I got a job at Bellevue Elementary, and I taught for a year math, science, and PE.
What year was that?
It was like 98, I believe.
It was.
97, 98.
I was gone by then. So.
Then I did a lot of substitute teaching.
And so, where along the line did real estate come into your future? And Luke Court, which I have heard a little bit about in speaking with you.
Well, I left the teaching profession, and after a few years, we bought a restaurant. We bought the Rock Restaurant in Twain Harbor. And we had that a couple of years. We had partners, and it was closed at the time.
Oh.
We didn't actually start the business, but it was closed. It had been closed for about a year, and so
It's still open today.
Well, we picked it up and we opened it back up, changed the menu a little bit, and they still use our menu, but they've added to it. So we were proud of that.
Yes.
Everybody loves the Rock.
It shows some management experience too. which I think is important.
Very tough job, having a restaurant, but it's rewarding.
Long hours.
Yes. And so we sold to our partners, sold the business to them, and they kept it for a few years after that, and then they sold it to the people who own it today. And
Then you went into real estate then?
pretty soon after that, yes. Went to work for Harvey Martinoni and in East Sonora. And he was partners with Mark Kraft at Coldwell Banker.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did Luke Court, which is another business that you own and operate,
Well,
get started?
That's right. In the course of selling real estate, you find good deals, and so we found Luke Court, and it's on top of Covey Circle, and it was an old group home. It was an old care home.
Care home.
Yes, and we decided not to keep it a care home. We decided a group home would be better it suited us better. And so we still have Luke Court. We've owned it for about 10, 11 years now. And we house 10 seniors. We cook for them, and everything's included.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, we see experience in many different fields, and I think that's always good to see someone who hasn't started at 18 and has done the same thing for 30 or 40 years. So
I do like to learn. Always
have.
I'm a lifetime learner.
Very good. So our next question, though, is going to be about this job that you would like to, you are aspiring to. What brought you to the point where you thought that you would make this plunge, so to speak?
I've always been a public employee, and so I've always worked for people, taken care of people, and I see a need. This district.
Time out. Sure, and just starting with the question you were going to ask me.
So here we are, and the most important thing that I personally want to hear, and I think the viewers do too, is why you aspire to this position as Supervisor of District 1, what you see that you want to see changed or added to. Can you elucidate a little bit about that?
You bet. Yes, I've always been taking care of people, and it's just something that I like to do, especially with working on the ferry system as a chief steward, working starting Luke Court. I saw a need, and we have 10 seniors that have a great place to live, and it's kind of a niche place to live because they can't afford a care home. So a lot of seniors don't need a care home. They don't need full-time care.
Right.
And that's where Luke Court fits in.
It's
So-
kind of a midway situation for some
It is.
that they can't
It
live
is.
at home independently and either can't afford or don't wish to go
And
into.
it is affordable for people.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you see the need of elderly people. What other sorts of needs do you see in the county?
Well, the biggest need I see is I see a lot of homeless people downtown, and it's a big problem. We have a lot of poor people here in this county, and a lot of kids on free lunches. If that tells you anything at all about the need. And
I think it does.
I believe I can help. I've noticed working at Luke Court, there is a need for we need to expand our mental health facilities further. With the loss of the county hospital years ago, we lost our mental health facility. And there's a lot of people who do not know what to do. People with mental health in their families, they're in crisis, and they have they really don't have anywhere to turn if their family members need to go into a crisis center, and that's...
So we don't have the facilities, obviously.
We don't. The
We send them out of the county, right?
Well, yes, correct. And the hospital here, they do have a place where they hold people, but really there's no place for a 5150. And that's when they hold people for 72 hours when they're in crisis. And a lot of them need a 30-day hold, but that's not possible either.
Yeah.
So they all go out of town, and a lot of them are just let out of the hospital, and family members really don't know what to do.
So you see then the need for better mental health treatment and programs?
I do. I think there's a lot of programs here, but there's still a need for a mental health facility where there's actually a place for 5150.
How do you feel, speaking of facilities, that leads me to think about our Law and Justice Center? There are so many millions and millions of dollars, much of it, most of it, well, I guess all of it, in the bottom line, tax dollars, either local or state or federal. And yet no provision for mental health. Is that a difficulty for you to see this problem of the mental health juxtaposed to, say, what's being done for lawbreakers, so to speak?
Yeah, there's the new jail. It is needed, and that's what our county supervisors are focused on right now.
It's for juveniles.
What's that?
It's for juveniles.
Oh, that's being built.
That's being built.
But, the new jail, too, for adults is being built as well. And a lot of the budgets are going towards that jail. And it's like a
It's
tunnel
needed,
vision.
though. It
is needed, but it is something that maybe it's not really that affordable. But it is being built. But some things are not being taken care of, and I think mental health is one of them.
So you would prioritize that?
I would.
What else would
They need a voice.
Yes, and they don't have it right now.
No, no.
Many of our homeless, I have dealt with some of them over the years myself. Many of them have mental health issues, and I wonder, other than drugs, which oftentimes they don't take as they should, whether that's enough.
It's a complicated issue.
It is very, very.
A lot of mentally ill people are homeless.
Some large cities have the same problem, and they throw money at it and don't really solve the problem. I think some new and innovative and creative thinking here in the county might help.
Yeah, I've talked to people about that, and somebody gave me an idea that make a homeless camp for people, give them an address so they can get back in the workforce, because if you're looking for jobs, you need an address.
That's true.
And a phone. And so that would be, it wouldn't be an easy way to do it, but it is, I believe
That's a
that's...
connection.
Yes, a homeless camp that the county runs.
They oversee it, make sure there are certain
Have someone
public
there all the
health
time.
rules and...
Bathrooms, and it's...
So do you see it as a community problem though? Something that
I do.
has to be, because that's the way I see it, but I'm here interviewing you.
Well, people
we
in
have
the
to get
community, even people who own homes downtown, they say, Chuck, we need to do something about the homeless. So we need to start coming up with ideas.
Yes. So you'd like to galvanize some people into a coalition, perhaps?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking in terms of? And sometimes you get people in a room with all kinds of creative ideas, and they can come up with things that they can try. Usually the funding is the problem. What else do you see as priorities insofar as your policies that you like to pursue?
Well, I believe the huge issue is development, where development is headed in this county. The county supervisors are looking to revise the general plan, and I believe that we should just leave it the way it is.
Interesting.
Yeah, they've gone through it quite a bit and just...
And why do you feel that way?
Well, for instance, recently we had an issue with Dollar General, and they wanted to open a store in Columbia. And I spoke at that hearing, and I said it was a bad idea. We need to listen to the people of Tuolumne County, and they adamantly opposed that store less than a half mile from the entrance to Columbia State Park, which it's a huge issue. We had probably 300 people at this last hearing with the Board of Supervisors, and all but a few were opposed to it, and they did the right thing in the end. The Board of Supervisors, they were, I believe they were surprised that there was so much negativity towards Dollar General. That's just a perfect example of urban growth that's in a bad way. It's not smart growth.
Do you have any thoughts about whether or not these companies should come in and build things here from out of the area? In this case, I believe it was out of the state. So Tennessee, right. Allowing them in, the cities or counties does benefit from the tax money they bring in. Do you think that's why a lot of the development is approved or not?
I believe it's the roads. The roads, they want more money for roads. And in fact, the state is going to be cutting funds for roads for our counties because of the gas. The gas tax is going down. So I believe there's other ways to do that, though. We need to keep the mom and pop stores in Columbia, places like that. And somebody suggested that they were trying to get a place where they could ride horses around the town of Columbia. Just come up with ideas where we don't have to have urban sprawl in the town of places like Columbia.
Well, there's other commercials, establishments around where Dollar General is going to be. I think possibly the main thing that people didn't want is the change in the type.
It's a chain store, and once you get one,
yes,
the rest are going to follow.
And of course, it's bound to affect the stores that are already there that are locally owned.
We'll have a lot that go out of business.
So we give the Board of Supervisors credit, the 3 that voted, at least they voted what you consider correctly on that issue.
Yes.
What else besides the general plan would you want to take a look at?
Probably some more multi-family units downtown. Because the idea is to keep people in the downtown area so they don't have to get in their car and drive. So we need probably some more apartment buildings
in town.
In town.
What do we have? What's the population of Sonora? Around 4,000?
4 to 5.
Yeah. And the county in general has actually lost population in the last few years. I know someone who was tasked with counting as best he could in his job what had happened to people around the county and up the hill where rents are cheaper. Many of those people have left when we had the recession. And that meant fewer children in our schools, so less tax money, people without jobs that were teaching there, on and on and on. There's always a snowballing effect. So what would you do to attract people to our county that in your opinion, are desirable?
Well, the downtown area is, it's a historic community, downtown Sonora and in Columbia. And we need to attract businesses to the downtown area that people love to go out to eat. They love to shop and they love to eat in a historic setting. And we need to attract businesses like that so we can build up the downtown area. And
I see a new store going in kind of kitty cornered across the street over there, and it's Saturday night, second Saturday night, we were here with friends from the coast, walking up and down the streets, and we ate here and went into the art museums. And as I walked by over there, I noticed it was a young person going out on a limb to start a new toy store. He had tiny little children in there, and
I read
he
an
was
article about that.
working on that. And you know, you just hope he can make it, because I know rents are high here. And
There's a new restaurant right across the street, Fiona's. People like that. They're young, they use good ingredients, and they attract people that like good food, and they're willing to pay a little bit more for it. So
maybe we need to depend on our millennials, our young people too.
I think we do.
So you have stated pretty clearly that you're really in favor of the Vision Sonora plan. Can you speak to how you feel about the traffic, which, by the way, our viewers might be interested to know that we are downtown as we speak in downtown Sonora, and we're having to put up with all the noise that's coming from the street side, which anyone who drives through this place knows what we're speaking of. Everyone in the county drives through here at some time or another. So do you have any, I don't know, solutions to it? I don't know what can be done.
I think probably the best idea is to get the truck traffic off downtown Washington Street.
And how could you do that?
They can just bypass it. And they have a route that they can take already. And we just have to get them to use that route.
That Jamestown Road route?
Correct.
Which,
Takes a little longer, but it would really help our downtown area.
oh, it would.
The noise, the traffic, and we would get more tourists walking the streets and more
Speaking
business.
of that, even though we're not, you would not be representing just simply Sonora city limits. Do you think there's anything that we could do to enhance our historical assets?
Yes, we could get people to paint their buildings. They used to do that. They used to have something like that, and I think it's
Some kind of an ordinance or something where they...
Yeah, we had that, but it's kind of gone away, and we could get that back.
Sometimes I understand everybody here has to advertise, but sometimes I think when I come downtown, there's too many signs. It's too much distraction by signs. I don't know, that's just my thought.
I think the traffic is the biggest issue right now.
I
That's
believe...
what we can work on.
Yeah,
It's doable.
that everyone would get behind you. If somebody could come up, I think, with some kind of a workable plan and present it to not only the people who have to drive through here every day, but the people who cause all this truck traffic and motorcycle traffic and noisy traffic through here. It's unbelievable, which we've we've heard as we speak here. Well, we wish you well. People have got a chance now to know that you're a caring person, that you are interested in the fact that we have people with needs in the community, and you'd like to address some of those needs, that that's one of your priorities, that you have a particular interest in Sonora, city limits, that area. And of course, there are people in District 1 who do not have any handle on what the general plan is or what it perhaps should be. And you could speak about that perhaps in coming
I'm not afraid to
forums.
vote. I'm not afraid to vote and speak my mind.
Not afraid to, and probably feel it's important, right?
I do.
Very
That's
good.
why I'm running.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Chuck
You're
Kiel.
welcome.
And thank you, viewers. We hope you've enjoyed this chat with our District 1 challenger to our present District 1 supervisor in Tuolumne County. And you can make up your own mind after listening to what each of them has to say. Thank you for watching. We would like to give you a phone number and perhaps a website that they can reach you. Is that correct?
Facebook. Chuck Kiel for Supervisor District 1 on Facebook.
Okay, we can put that at the end of the video. Also, do you have an email address?
Yeah, I'd rather not put that right.
Okay. He prefers not to, but we will put the phone number. You will see that at the end of the video.
Okay.
Thanks for watching today. It's been our pleasure to have you view us. Thank you, Mr. Kiel.
You're welcome.
Goodbye. Till next time.